Girl, yes, he did.
Look at you, got them eyes on him and everything.
Well, you had the collar thing
well,
on.
Because you know what? I felt like I look a little buttoned up, and I was like, well, I didn't know I looked that buttoned up, but we out here, we in these streets. And welcome to another edition of Oh No, Girl Yes, the podcast where we talk about, oh no, he didn't, girl, yes, he did. Sometimes that is an amazing thing. Oh no, he didn't, girl, yes, he did. And sometimes it is the inspiration for the podcast. Oh no, he didn't.
Girl, yes, he did.
Today is yes, they did. Oh no, they didn't. Yes, they did. Our topic for today. But thank you for listening. Please comment. Please share. We love hearing what you guys think and feel about what we're talking about. I saw this post on social media on Facebook, so I'm going to read you guys the post. I sent it to you last week, but we haven't discussed it. So
Right.
We're saving our discussion.
Well, before you start, shout out to the Patreons. We always have to give them a shout out.
I feel like we've been doing really good with Patreon. I feel like
they are getting the goods, honey.
They've been getting the goods. Now, if you don't know what Patreon is, that's a special subscription that you too could be a part of, but they get behind the scenes. They get the behind
that
of what's going on in the real world. We keep this, we are always authentic and truthful in the podcast as well, but we do keep it pretty surface. We never give too many details because we want to protect the usually the guilty's privacy for whatever reason. Getting over that.
Right.
And make sure you follow us on YouTube and Twitter and Instagram and Facebook.
Right. Okay.
Shouts out to Patreon. You too should join Patreon as well. All right. So I'm going to try to read this, to take out my glasses and read this, see what the kids are saying. Okay. All right. So it starts off by saying married in 15 days. On July 5th, 2020, I met my husband while he was delivering furniture to my sister's house. When they were almost finished, he asked for my MySpace, LOL. I gave him my Facebook, and before he drove off, he had already requested me and sent an inbox. We talked that night and every night after until 6 o'clock in the morning. It just felt right. By the middle of the week, he said he wanted to be with me forever. By Friday, we talked about marriage and obtaining a license. And by the end of the conversation, he had sent me all of his information. For the first time in my life, a man is so sure about me. Saturday, he bought a ring. Sunday was our first date. Monday, we got our marriage license. The following Friday, he met my best friends and fit in perfectly. On Monday, July 20th, 2020, we married. When I say that this man made plans for me, woo child, a week later, he had us a place. Every day since then, God has been blessing us. Everything has been lining up. He provides for us while I focus on nursing school. He's so sweet, caring, kind, and patient. God knew we needed each other.
Okay, then.
All right. So the question is, it started off married in 15 days. They met on July 5th and were married July 20th. 15 days. Now, we're discussing this because is this just like some pandemonium, or do you believe you could be somebody and marry him in 2 weeks? Now, wait, let me say this. Anybody can marry anybody in 2 weeks. You can marry somebody in 1 day.
Yeah.
So, I need to see what August 20th looks like. Like, where's the August 20th update? Is what I'm looking for. Wait, let me find her name.
You're right. Let's see if there's a follow.
Yeah, let me go there. This is not a Facebook friend of mine. One of my Facebook friends.
Well, she should have. But no, she owes us this much.
Right. Well, her name is on there. So let me see. It seems like they submitted it to like a group, the Marriage Club. So you go ahead and tell me your thoughts while I see if I can stalk her right quick. We know that anybody can get married and have a husband. We know that we don't have one.
Absolutely possible.
Right. Anybody can do that.
Yes.
But can anybody get the husband they
right.
want?
And you know what? I actually wish this couple well. Like no joke.
Definitely.
It's a beautiful story.
And let me just say for the record, this is a black couple.
Yeah. Well, does that matter? Okay, never mind.
Yeah. Sometimes culturally, arranged marriages.
That's true. True. I got what you're saying. I was like, why are you saying this? Okay. But yeah, it's a beautiful story nonetheless. It sounds like a story written out of a fairy tale book. Yeah. Everybody does not have that fairy tale, but I do believe some fairy tale marriages happen, So that's why, for that sake, yes, I think it's a great story, and I think it's beautiful. Whether it's pandemic related, I don't know. Because even before the pandemic, people have done probably something like this.
Right. I mean, think about it.
Do I think the pandemic causes us to rethink sometimes our lives and our situations and where we are in life and all that kind of stuff? Yes. And sometimes that does lend you, if you've been cooped up at home because you don't have a family, to spend time with, then it may make you think like, what is this? So how the rest of my life's gonna go? Like, I don't have an option. So
you pull the trigger left and right. You're like, oh, wait a minute. I think
there are things that I've rethunk.
What have you rethought? Pandemic.
That I actually, but it reinforced that I'm okay.
That's what I was gonna say. What did you rethought?
But it may not reinforce that for everybody. What being at home has made me realize is that I love being at home, which I already knew, but it reinforced that. And I've been around my family, so I haven't really been alone.
And completely isolated.
Right.
Yeah.
If I was completely isolated, it probably.
So. Let me say this: since the pandemic, you work for yourself. You've also been very busy.
Yes. So that doesn't it's like, by the time I get home and get into bed, I'm like, oh, I'm tired, Right. So I actually joked with a girlfriend yesterday about it. I was like, I've been working so hard, I can't imagine having a man to have to tend to after all this work I've been doing.
Right. And that's the thing. It still is an ebb and flow of timing of life. I mean, yes, the pandemic is now for all of us, but it still comes down to where you are in your life.
Right.
I think there's always been stories of people. I mean, plenty of grandparents have told the story about, oh, we met and got married the next week, or we saw each other once before we got married, or, again, arranged marriages or whatever. I think, them getting married in 2 weeks. Again, talk to me in 2 months. Talk to me in 2 years. You know what I'm saying? I think anybody can get married quickly.
Did you see any follow-up from her page?
I would have to send her a friend request. It looks like what she posted was in a private group called the Marriage Club. Which
we're not in that group either.
Right. So let me see if I can. Because I ain't married. I don't know if I can get in the Marriage Club.
But that post went viral, right?
Right.
Okay.
It has 880,000 members.
Okay.
Well, okay, it looks like it's a public group. Okay, go ahead. Keep talking. Let's see. So I can see on her Facebook page, from what I can see and not being her friend, she did post a picture of them on August 16th. So that was at least another month.
Okay. I mean, I think I definitely believe when you know. I believe when people say that. I believe them. I don't know if I would always buy into that for myself. Because I've never known anything. Why do you
believe it but wouldn't buy into it for yourself?
I said because I've never known anything. But so if I ever get in that position where I know, then I feel like I know.
Okay, well, this is something that happens.
Right. So I'm not saying it doesn't happen. It just never happened to me that way, obviously. So
let me say about the knowing when you know. Because again, since I've never been married, it's this idea of like, well, did I think I knew before? Was it just because I wanted it to be that? But I will say today, like, what time is it right now today? I would say you do know when you know.
Yeah. Okay.
But this couple, like I said, from meeting each other to, I mean, if you dated somebody in a month, and like if you met somebody today and by October you told me you were going to get married, I think I would respond differently to it today than I would have pre-pandemic.
Yeah. Okay. I see that. Yeah.
You see what I'm saying? Because if you had said that pre-pandemic, I'd be like, well, hold on, wait a minute. You only know this for a month.
I honestly think about it, if I were to meet this amazing guy, and if we hit it off and we wanted the same things and he wanted marriage just as much as me, I don't see why I would wait. I would prolong it long. You know what I mean?
But is that new for you? Is that new? A new thing?
Yeah, it's a new thing. Yeah, but that's just with age. Like I wouldn't. Okay. Why wait? If we already on the same page and we feel this way about each other and everything else is lining up right, there's no need to wait for anything.
Right.
And
it's crazy when you realize, even in the why wait, is that how mature we are. And I'm saying actually chronologically on paper, the age.
Yeah.
Because I think a lot of times I'm still so attached to being 16 or 18 or, I got to finish this first. I got to, not before I finish school or not before I finish job. Not before, and now it's like, boo boo, you on the back nine. You might want to pull a few triggers around this joint, and nobody got to sign for you to do it. Ain't nobody got to agree with you for you to do it. You ain't ask nobody else to finance you doing it. It's like you like a full blown grown up.
Mm-hmm.
So what you gonna do? So but that was 30 days. So in this situation with them meeting in 2 weeks, you feel like, hey, that could have happened on any day of the week, or you feel like, hey, that's some pandemic loving.
It's hard to say. Like, that's why I wanted to see the follow up and all that. And it's hard to judge based off just that one post.
She just updated her profile picture on August 16th. So that means they've been married since July 20th. And it was a picture of both of them. So they still together, at least as of August 16th.
But I will say the pandemic does bring out some things in the people that make them feel like, just like any other, emergency or anything, you just kind of start thinking about your life and are you where you want to be?
You start losing people, or people getting sick, or it's a lot of different things. But you know what? Just on the opposite side of that, you see domestic violence rates going up since the pandemic, divorce rates going up since the pandemic, where I don't know if that is a result of, okay, we normally have these separate lives that we can go and live, and we just kind of have this arrangement versus being quarantined together. Or is it that thing of like, listen, if this is how I'm gonna go out, I want to go out happy. I don't want to go out with you.
It's probably a combination of all, and then the added stress that this is causing to families,
right,
on top of everything else. So
on several and many levels, and then adding kids and the responsibility. It's already probably been a imbalance of responsibility before you try to homeschool and virtual learning and still navigate your job and your situation, and it's a lot. So I will say the pandemic has made me have a greater appreciation for having an empty house. But it also, I think it has made me really, I'm so glad I don't have the challenges of a child, because there are no right answers right now.
Everybody's doing the best they can.
Right. Everybody's just doing the best they can with really no information. So I'm so glad that I'm not responsible for somebody else's situation. I'm so glad I'm not in education. All of our friends and family that are school teachers. It's like, so I'm just glad that that's not my particular problem. I don't have to worry about going back to a school to teach, or my child going to a school or not knowing what I would do. But beyond that, I have enjoyed, having this time by myself, because it kind of the lockdown coincided with me leaving my full-time job. So it all happened at one time, but it also has put in perspective for me that I do need to start pulling the trigger on some things that I may have thought I wanted, that I just always feel like I got another 1,000 years left to do. I suffer from sometimes the paralysis of analysis. I'll be thinking about something and I ain't gonna do it, but I'm thinking about it, but I ain't gonna do it. And then, you look up and 10 years have gone by and you're like, and I usually feel this the most. I don't comparison shop my life. I don't look at what somebody else is doing and say, oh, wow, why haven't I done it? However, there is one family that I've been involved with. I used to work with somebody in the family. And so I've seen his family grow up, and seeing these little cousins and these little kids that I met as little kids are now in college or in grad school or have husbands and wives and kids. And I'm like, well, when did they grow up? When did they do all that? And what was I doing during that time? Looking at them specifically, it's the craziest thing, because I just always saw them as little kids, and now they're doing all this grown up big stuff. And I'm like, okay, I probably should figure out how to do some grown up big stuff too. Maybe. I don't know. Is that what we're doing now? But I think the pandemic has put me in a place to experience things I've never experienced before, whether it's, becoming a baby plant lady.
Yeah.
I've never owned a plant before the pandemic. I just went on a trip and came back, and, of course I missed my dogs, but I missed my plants. It's like, I miss checking on them. I miss watering them. I miss that relationship I have formed with these plants.
Right.
That's new for me. I will say 2020, as much as we say 2020 can go kick rocks, we were both sharing last week, 2020 has been transformative for us.
Has.
In a good way.
Yeah. I agree.
So maybe, just maybe, this is the year that we meet our forever. And it might happen.
You gonna put that out in the atmosphere?
Put it in the atmosphere. And then
that happened in 15 days.
he met on July 5th and they was married July 20th. We could definitely put something in the atmosphere for 2020. It's August. We're going to draw him to us. How about that? But
what's going to happen to the podcast?
Huh?
What are we going to do with the podcast?
What you mean what we going to do with the podcast?
What are we going to talk about?
Oh, no, he didn't, girl. Yes, he did. Well, you think if you got a man, you think we gonna run out of stuff to talk about? We're gonna have even more
girl, we're gonna have double the content.
Triple the content. Look at we didn't have
two episodes a week.
No man. Wait, we never had no man since we've been doing the podcast.
Hold up, we never had a man, but I always find something to complain about on these.
Always. So imagine if we had a man, you think we're gonna not have nothing to talk about? I got a whole list waiting for when I get a man to talk about. Girl, how do you think we should handle this? I think the podcast will, as long as men are for Mars and women are for Venus, we will always have a podcast. Okay. I don't think we're going to have to worry our pretty little heads about content. But I am excited about us having different content because think about it. Both of us have shared that we have not exercised a lot of relationship to no muscles. And so we have... like the relationship muscles. We don't have a lot, ours aren't strong. We haven't had a lot of working out of those muscles that you need to have strong in the context of a relationship. I know I haven't.
Yeah.
And so whether that's forgiveness, whether that's empathy, whether that's compassion, you know how I always think I'm not an insecure, jealous person, but I don't know. Test me. I might be. You know, I've never been in this situation to exercise that muscle.
Yes.
You know, and so when you get put in that situation, you see who you are. And so I think we'll still have a lot of content based on, girl, let me tell you about me in the bushes last night because he did not call me back. So I had to do a little ride by the drive.
Oh my goodness.
And hide in the bushes. And I wouldn't have known I would have needed to be in the bushes until I was picking the twigs out my hair. I would not have known that was me until that was me.
That's hilarious.
That's all I'm saying. I'm open for it. But so we're saying thumbs up on the 2 week from meeting to marriage. We are saying, hey, we would do it too.
Yeah.
You would do it?
I'm okay with it. I'm not judging it at all. I think it's, you know, it's not something like, oh, why they do that? Like, good for them.
Really? Good for you. Because I thought you was going to be, wow, why'd they do that?
You know, I don't be caring about other people's business.
I know you don't be caring about other people. No.
What you say?
I know you don't be caring about other people like that. That's what I'm saying.
No, I mean, I said their business.
I know, that's what I'm saying. You don't care about it like that. Where it's like, okay, that's what they want. I didn't try to talk to you about a couple people's business, and I'm like, you don't have no reaction? You're like, no, that's their stuff. And I'm like, I know it's their stuff, but what do you think? Well, what do you think about their stuff? I know it ain't got nothing to do with me or you. But what do you think?
This is true. So true.
On, man. That's who we are. All right, so we're saying thumbs up on the 2 week marriage. Y'all send us comments and let us know what have you done differently in the pandemic. If it's specific to love, it might be reaching out to a long lost love. It might be being a better partner. It might be earnestly looking for a partner, maybe harder than you had before. I know people who have tried dating apps for the first time since the pandemic because you can't really go out.
Yeah.
So make sure you comment and tell us what new things are you doing.
Yeah.
I thought you was about to say something like.
No, I thought I was about to sneeze. I was
like, you was getting ready. I was like, whoa, she coming with something. Oh, okay. Well, bless you in advance. And
I thought I was about to sneeze.
But it really is just about, I think the pandemic is a metaphor for just life. And none of us are promised life. None of us are guaranteed the next 2 seconds. And because we don't know the end of the pandemic, we don't know how this pandemic is going to affect all of it. It already has affected all of us, the entire country, the entire world. Right. But we don't know the depths to which it will affect us. I think it's a good reminder that that's just life, and we should just kind of pull the trigger and deal with it. Not make bad, rash decisions, but pull the trigger on things that you feel good about in that moment.
Yeah.
We're going to see. We're going to test out this theory.
Mm-hmm.
I think it's going to come up in a later podcast. We're going to see where you at on that. You think?
Yeah, I mean, I think we could test it.
Look at. Listen, I say it's August. I'm gonna go ahead and claim by the end of 2020, somebody being tested theory. I'm looking at you. I'm putting it in the universe.
Okay. Put it on out there.
We'll put it out there because I'm going to say, girl, remember in August we was talking about them 2 weeks? Look at you. It's December. There you have it. All right, cool. Y'all comment, let us know, share. Thanks for listening to the podcast. Don't forget, you want to subscribe to Patreon because after we record this episode every week, we record a separate episode for Patreon.
Right.
And basically, the next episode that once we press stop and tell y'all goodbye, we then go fix our cocktails.
Girl, let me tell you what.
Listen to this. So you probably want to be.
It's a whole thing. And it's not just episodes. We upload, if we got a little update, we'll put a little something out there for them.
We give Patreon subscribers little treats all along the way. So make sure you look into becoming a Patreon subscriber. It also supports the podcast. So make sure you follow us on Twitter, Instagram, Facebook. Click, like, share, comment. And thanks if you've been listening so far. If you need to go back and re-listen to some episodes, we encourage you to do that because we do that ourselves when we're talking about what we're going to talk about each week. We'll say, did we talk about that? And we'll say, we talked about something like that, but we got something new to say about it.
Uh-huh.
Things change and life goes on.
Yeah.
All right. So we're looking for that 2 week. I mean, but we were all into the Love is Blind. I mean, so I think we've kind of said before, we'd be okay.
Yeah, it's not a surprise for us to
that
feel
was
that
pre-pandemic. We was like, we would do Love is Blind. Okay.
That wasn't pre-pandemic.
That was the pandemic.
We were all watching that together in the pandemic.
I know, but I felt like I was going to work.
You're right. We were. It was pre-pandemic. You're right. My bad. Because we were still at the radio station recording.
Mm-hmm. Well, I just remember talking about it at work. That's why I'm like,
my bad.
I consider work is the beginning of the pandemic for me.
Yeah, you're right.
Work was the pandemic.
Right. Yeah, that's right.
Okay. It's all blending in. So we'll say PP. Pre-pandemic or post-pandemic.
Yeah.
Pandemic.
Mm-hmm.
All right. Okay. Oh no, he didn't.
Girl, yes, he did.